Good afternoon. I am so happy to be here this morning. It looks like my video is tilted too far down, but you know what? If you saw what I went through every day when I try to set up this video and set up the camera, so the two of them are working together, so you can see my head when I'm sitting and see my head when I'm standing and everything. It's quite amusing. It's quite amusing. So I am so glad you've come to join me today. And yesterday was Sunday, and we did more like a little churchy, servicey kind of thing. Today, what I want to do is review what we have been talking about for the past 13 days. This is day 13. We're moving along. I hope you all got a good laugh at the start of the video yesterday, because that was pretty hideous. So when I found out how to clip the part off that was hideous, and when I uploaded it on YouTube, it was okay, albeit this was still backward. So we're going to kind of review today what we've been talking about for the past 13 days. And first of all, the question I ask you almost every day is, what are you wearing? So if you're home, you don't have to, you're not considered essential. You're all essential to me. But even though you may not be considered essential by some people, you have to go to work. My brother-in-law's shop is essential, and so they all have to go in. They are a manufacturing company, and my sister has been very busy making them masks, so that even though they have to go to work, whether they say the masks are going to work, the masks are not going to work, the basic idea is that they're doing the best they can. Just like any of us do the best we can. So, back to the question of the day, what are you wearing? So, you probably can't read this because it's backwards. My next trick to learn is how to flip the video forward, but if I manage to get the camera going, you will be seeing this forward if my camera works today. So you'll see my shirt says, hang on, I'm going to see if I can prop you up a little bit. My shirt says Thanksgiving. No, I know it's not Thanksgiving, but I wear it for two purposes. The first reason is that I think we need to be very thankful for every day and everything we have. The second reason is I wore this, let me see if the year is on it. Now, the year might be on the back. I wore this for a Thanksgiving Day run I walked when I was in Kansas. I was in Kansas with my son Frank and his family for the holiday, and I love this shirt, so I wear it for two reasons. One, to remind us we need to be thankful. Two, because it makes me feel closer to those good memories, and the good memories that are going to keep coming. We have to remember the good memories will keep coming. So what are you wearing? If you're home, I hope you got your clothes on and you didn't stay in your jammies all day. It's difficult, but that's not going to put you where you want to be in getting things done. So the things we've been talking about the past 13 days include, you might want to have a paper and pencil if you don't have one. I'm going to stand up because I look way too short when I sit down. I don't need to be made to look any shorter. Much better. I feel so tall. So, you might want a paper and pencil, because during the course of today you might want to make yourself some notes. I'm going to ask you to think about a few things. First of all, we talked about the importance of, in order to keep our mind uplifted, that we want to think about our goals. Do you have a goal? Do you have a goal for today? Do you have goals that you thought about when we started this almost 2 weeks ago that got set aside? I'll be honest, I do. I'm supposed to be working on my most recent novel, and I'm supposed to be working on getting my first novel reformatted so I can get it back on Amazon. And it's such a good story. And every time I'm working on it, I go, this is such a good story. I got to get it out there. But that was put on hold because, for one thing, of my wonderful time I spend with you every day. And it's not, I love spending this time, and it is worth, in these unusual circumstances, the opportunity to be together. Okay, so did you have any goals? What did you do with your goals? Have you put them aside? Is it time to pick them back up? I didn't lose. You know what? Time well spent is never lost. That's what you have to remember. It's only lost if you shove it in a drawer and let it stay there for this whole time we're here. I learned, oh my gosh, what have you learned in the past 13 days? Few of the things I learned is what this camera that I got will and won't do. I learned how to change the format of my videos. That was actually a refresher course because I used to do it and I stopped, and this new camera requires it. I learned how to cut videos up. I learned what doesn't work. I learned that I will be, no matter how hard I work to stay up, there will be times when I get down. I learned how much I miss my family. I just, so I reach out the best I can, a little email, a little phone call or whatever, and family, darling, if you're out there, check in with me. I am okay. And so I've learned a lot. And I've learned I can do my jazzercise on the TV. And, what have you learned? Gosh, I hope you've learned something. You may have learned clearer than ever if you are an extrovert or an introvert. Because extroverts are having a really hard time if they're alone. That'd be me. People that have, people in the house with them, if they're extroverts, that's great. They got someone to talk to. They got things to do. If you are an extrovert like me and there's nobody but my cat, she's getting tired of listening to me. Thank God you are listening to me. And then we have the introverts that are happy. They're meditating. They're doing their thing. They're enjoying their solitude. Then you have the introverts that have family all around them, and it's like, I gotta go sit in the closet for a while, or something. It's always interesting because in some versions of the Bible it said that Jesus would go into his closet to pray. It was probably means just another room, and close the door, and how important it is to go in the other room and close the door. So if you are an introvert that is having a hard time being surrounded by people, try to find yourself. I'm waving to everybody. Yay. So thank you for being out there. I can see some names, but I'm not that great at this distance. So thank you for being here. So anyway, introverts need to go aside somewhere. If you can get out the door, do that. Extroverts that don't have anybody, pick up the phone, get on video. I'm still working on Zoom. That is one thing I didn't get done. I still want to do Zoom happy hour on, now I'm not going to say this, but I'm going to say a Friday. I'm trying to watch some videos and learn it, but do you remember, this is what you all want to remember too. This might be a write it down thing. Kevin Nation said, winners take imperfect action while losers are perfecting their plan. Are you perfecting a plan, or are you taking imperfect action? If you've been following me with these videos, you know I've been taking imperfect action. But I only hope that through the grace and love of God and my desire to share ways with you how to get through this time with metaphysics, that I'm knowing that it's going to be worth it. Any effort I put into it is worth it. Speaking of grace, today the daily word is grace. Now, we're not going to go into that today because we got plenty of days, because we're going to be doing this at least until April 30th. So we'll do grace another day. But grace is what appears to be an unearned blessing that came from who knows where. Now, my metaphysical mind says that there is a cause behind every effect. And if grace is an effect, then somewhere lies a cause, which is God, divine mind. Remember how I was talking about, we have to wash our hands 85 times a day? Well, instead of washing your hands and singing happy birthday twice to make sure that you've got it done, I've been talking about using the Lord's Prayer. But there's other things you can use as affirmations. You got 10 fingers, you can do 10 affirmations. I can do anything. I can get through this with a peaceful mind. I can love my family even when they get on my nerves. I can manage being alone. You see what I'm saying? Get your little affirmation. You know what you can do if you get really bored? You shouldn't be bored, because bored people are boring people. So if you're bored, guess who needs to look at that? Okay, so if you get bored and you want to play, you could write your affirmations on your fingers. Heaven knows you're going to wash them off sooner or later anyway. Wash them in indelible marker so they'll last through half of the washings. And that by the time you're done and it goes away, you'll remember it. There are so many ways that we can lift ourselves up and get through this. So that's another way you can infuse your everyday life with positive information in the midst of the negative stuff. We talked yesterday about taking your emotional temperature. If you recall, I showed you a calendar and I colored the different days of the week in the color that I felt that day. And that's really, it's like a psychological, spiritual way to determine, where am I coming from? I don't care how strong you think you are. I don't care how brave you think you are or how easily you're going to make it through it. Chances are you're going to be challenged. And you got to be gentle on yourself if you're being challenged. We fall down, we get up, we go again. One of my heroes said, as long as I can run, I'm going to run. And if I can't run, I'm going to walk. And if I can't walk, I'm gonna crawl. But dear God, don't let me die before I'm dead. Is that hilarious? It is. Okay, so we have to keep pumping ourselves up, because chances are, nobody is going to do it for us. That's one of the things we've had to learn. There was the book, A Tale of Two Cities, that began with the line, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Can we possibly look at these times of challenge and say it was the best of times, it was the worst of times? We look back, going to be, I've said it before, 75 come July, and in those years, I have had many worst of times that I thought I would never get out of it, times I thought I didn't even want to live through it, and yet I have continued to live by making the worst of times the best of times. What way can you help make the worst of times the best of times? A quick story, when I was living in California, it was like my first or second year there. No, it was my first year, because we were really broke, and they wouldn't let me open a bank account because I had to be there for a certain period of time. I had to have my driver's license. That was a real hard thing to do. Moving's hard enough as it is. So one thing I did is, this was humiliating. There was a restaurant, a Mexican restaurant in town. I didn't know anybody, but they gave you a free meal on your birthday. So I went out to that Mexican restaurant and I showed them my driver's license. It was my birthday. It was my 40th birthday. Hard to believe that was 34 years ago. And I got my meal, and oh my God, when they brought the meal over, there was like 3 waiters and they're singing happy birthday, happy, happy birthday. And I'm going, oh, can't wait. I maybe put a sign on my forehead glowing, I'm alone, it's my birthday. But that wasn't the tough time. The tough time is that Mimi was living with me, and we were so broke. We were so broke. So we went to a store. Now, Dollar Tree is great. Matter of fact, my wonderful grandson is a manager, big manager there, a division district, something like that. He's really growing and moving forward in a neat place, because you can get stuff at Dollar Tree you can't get anyplace else. But we went to a cheaper place. It was called Pick and Save. And Mimi and I went to Pick and Save, and we got this huge Christmas stocking. Huge plastic, 50 cents. And we found with our hearts. We shopped with our hearts, not with our money, okay? Remember, when you give a gift with love, you are giving love in a solid form. Isn't that exciting? You can give love in a solid form. This stocking was filled with presents for everybody back east, presents from Pick and Save that we picked with such great care to try to make sure we got the right present for the right person. Well, even that didn't fill up the box we had, so I made some of the best molasses popcorn balls ever. And we packed that to fill the box and sent it off, and my sister Val said that, she said, when we got the box, she said we opened it up and those molasses popcorn fragrance just filled the room. And so that was a worst of times period where we had the best of time. We made the best of time out of it. Most of you know that going on 3 years already, I lost my precious Sammy, and which was hard. When I'm talking about the worst of times, that was the worst of times. Yet I was so warmed by the people who came to the memorial service. I met her friends, people I'd never known, family. It made the worst of times the best of times, because in that time I was able to hug people, and that led to my next worst of times, best of times experience. I got in the car and I drove cross country. I did Route 66, historic 66, and I called it Drive, Pray, Heal. I stopped at Unity churches and talked to people at the ministers there, asked them to pray with me for my healing. And I just put everything behind me, and I went to heal. And it was a trip that I thought it was a once-in-a-lifetime trip, but it's not. I'm going to do it again. So do you see how you can take these worst of times and make them the best of times? That is all, and that is a part of metaphysics, because it is that which is behind our experiences. And we have the power, through the power where we put our thoughts. We can focus on our troubles. We can focus on things that are good. Where we focus and how is up to you and me individually. Nobody can do it for us. Only you are responsible for your thoughts. So I'm going to do something different today. Now, I'm hoping that over the past 13 days, you have looked at these, and I'm going to go over them one more time in case you didn't see them. And I see my phone. I hope it's showing them clearly enough. This is lower human consciousness. This is in the world. And up here is spiritual. It's upper consciousness in spirit. I'm going to try to tilt this up. Hold on. I may screw up and tilt the whole thing too far. But, if you could watch the beginning of yesterday's video before I fixed it, that was... Oh, I see, my little thing fell off. I licked it. Oh, my God, I licked it. There. Now I'm going to have to see if I can find a way to cut a piece out of a video. There we go. That's better. There we go. Oh, so good. All right. So, lower consciousness, higher consciousness. This is where we grow. This is where life is good. This isn't what they call heaven. This is heaven on earth. This is creating it by living as a spiritual being, having a human experience, not like a human being who occasionally goes to church and has a spiritual experience, okay? All right, so let me I'm saying goodbye to these guys, and I'm going to do it a way that I hope will help you get a kind of even a deeper understanding of it. Okay, I should have wiped this out before, but I wanted to give you a reminder. Okay, so, whoops, you gotta go. And because I don't know whether the screen's going to show it forward or backward, I'm going to do it this. I'm going to walk over here because I'm left-handed and I do better. Okay, so this lower consciousness, this is the world. It's us, individuals. This is upper consciousness. I'll draw some of my own continents on it. It's like the Earth, but I think that if I were really doing it right, I would be showing a galaxy, not the planet, because divine mind, spirit, the creator, whatever you want to call this energy, is greater than us. Up here, this part says, the lower consciousness says, I, me, my, mine. The upper consciousness said, we, us, ours. Do you get the difference? The higher consciousness is the part of us that says, we want to help the world heal. Oh. Lower consciousness says, what's in it for me? These are the hoarders. These are the people, these are the people that have all the toilet paper, right? These are the people that are afraid there is never enough. We want to raise our consciousness to know there is plenty. There's plenty to go around. There's plenty for everybody, and God will provide. Talking again about making the worst of times the best of times, maybe you've been thinking like, maybe it's time to grow a garden. During World War II, I believe, one or two, they had what they called victory gardens because they had a lot of their problems going on and they needed to grow their food. And so what if we had a victory garden? That would be a good thing to do. See, there's always a way. This is in the box. This is limitation. Our human thinking is limited. Our higher mind is unlimited. Our human body has a brain inside. Our spiritual part operates in mind. You see, we say in unity, I have a body, but I am not my body. I am spirit. That the truth of our being is that we are a spiritual being having a human experience. Will this be it? Will we come around again? Or when we leave here, will we go, as they say, up or down? In God there is no up or down. There just is what it is. We're going to talk another day about the devil, but that's not going to be a today thing. We want to think about how when we come out of this, are we going to be living more here in the human part that's fear, and are we going to be living in the higher part that is poised and serene? Frankly, I'd like to be in poised and serene more than I would want to be in fear. If you are familiar with the religious concept of the 7 deadly sins, the 7 deadly sins live down here, and the fruit of the Spirit lives up here. And remember, we're not really separate. The separation is an illusion. Our goal is to try to make this line go away. And that would be called holistic. The whole thing, that both our lower physical, remember, our physical being is important. And we got a brain to help us figure things out, to help us know how to live good, healthy lives. So because I say lower consciousness doesn't mean less than. It means this is our physical experience. But we are greater. That's how we're going to get through this, is to know that no matter what's going down here, we are greater. A woman on TV the other day said, the crisis that we're in has laid bare the weakness of our system, the weaknesses of our system. We can look at that on 3 different levels: our personal level, our communal level, and the spiritual level. I even said that laid bare our weakness. We're having an opportunity to learn a lot of things. Question: are we learning them or not? Because that's going to make the difference when this is behind us. Imagine the changes we're going to make in the world. Did you see on the news Los Angeles had smog-free skies for 3 days already? Wow, I used to live out there, so I can tell you. As a matter of fact, I lived in Riverside County in a little brown town called Colton. It had a lot of dust and dirt and not a whole lot of greenery. And then every day I would drive to Los Angeles to go to work. Well, when I got up and drove to work, the smog would kind of follow me, because over the evening it'd fly out and settle in Riverside County. So then, but when I got up in the morning, I'd be driving into work and it'd follow me into work. And at night when I came home, I'd be driving with it again. Smog is choking us. It is making us sicker. Imagine if we say, wait a minute, things got so good. How can we change to make that better? That's on a communal level. On an individual level, we can say, what is my part? What weaknesses? I know we don't like to admit we have weaknesses, but what weakness? There's nothing wrong with you. You've got weaknesses. You're here to learn. We're here to learn. That's why we're here. And how do we learn? By overcoming our weaknesses, okay? What weakness, or we like to say, in Unity we don't like to say you have a weakness. We like to say it is a growth opportunity. What opportunities for growth are you experiencing in your life? Do you find that your temper was a little shorter than you thought? Did you find that you weren't the holy person you thought you were? Instead, you had all kinds of swirling emotions? Did you think that you were fearless and in control at one time and found out how much you're not? It's just an area of growth. Sometimes those areas of growth can be pretty uncomfortable. So we like to call them AFGOs, A-F-G-O, another flippin' growth opportunity. Got any AFGOs in your life? Think about it. It's okay. Admit it. And then this is your opportunity to work on that while we are here. Try to remember that what's going on is not personal. It's principle. As I said, I used to teach earthquake preparedness classes, and I don't know if you're very familiar with how earthquakes work or not. Sometimes people think that God is having this punishing people by bringing earthquakes, whereas what an earthquake happens is the plates of the earth are kind of like floating around a little bit, and what will happen is they'll get jammed up against each other, and the pressure gets harder and harder, and all of a sudden, boom, there's an earthquake. And the earthquake, excuse me, takes the pressure off the plates that were jammed up against each other. In the meantime, we're having all kinds of negative experiences that are saying, oh my God, is God punishing us? It's not about God punishing us. It is about us learning to live, first of all, with scientific principle, and secondly, with spiritual principle. Because it is the spiritual principle, when we attune to the higher creative force that really drives everything. Now, a lot of people are not in the least bit religious. They don't want to know about religion. They don't even want to be told that they're spiritual, not religious. Yet within them, still, the divine is very strong. And they're very interested in humankind and the best for the planet and loving one another. And in other words, they practice all these principles without having a religion or something that they hang on to, okay? So it doesn't matter what faith you are or anything. Like I've always said, God doesn't care where you pray, only that you pray. And maybe someone that doesn't go to church and doesn't consider themselves spiritual, their thoughts are, even their thoughts that say, this can be better. This can be better. We can get through this. It's spiritual, okay? We'll just keep that to ourselves. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about today is, how are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking care of yourself? If you were to, let's say you had a cup of beans, little dry beans. By the way, did you know I can't get black beans in the store? I can't figure it out. You cannot get any black beans. They were apparently just a run on them in the stores. Somebody thought they needed to have every black bean in the world. But I will keep looking, because you know what? I ain't no quitter. And God continues to bring us good things. And if there's no black beans, I can get black-eyed peas, or I can get pinto beans, and I can learn. We're going to talk about food another day. It's going to be so exciting. I'm planning it, but I want it to be perfect before I want to be ready. I'm not going to say I want it to be perfect, because I am a winner. I take imperfect action while losers are perfecting their plan. Okay, let's go back to the beans. Let's say you got a scale in front of you, okay? And you put a bean in every time you have a challenging experience, and then when you have a good experience, you put a bean in the other side. What you want to do is you want to keep putting your beans in the positive side. So what's going to happen is that's going to have weight. It's going to carry the weight in your mind and in your heart. In order to do this, let's take a look at those scales. How are you taking care of yourself? Oh, there's some beans. I did some housework. Oh, there's some beans. I picked up all the toys so the kids didn't have to. Oh, there's a bean. I did the laundry. Oh, there's a bean. I painted my nails. How many? You can balance out those beans. Life is about balance, okay? So balance out your personal beans. Now, there is a way, and I could see with my, what I could see over there, I could see that one of my friends is watching. I hope you're still there, Brenda. And Brenda works with essential oils. And I went to a little party at my niece's house. No, it was actually here. It was my niece's party. And I got some essential oils. And I got a diffuser. Now, the example I'm going to give you right now is very small, but at that time, Tristan was just under 3 years old. And one of the things we did at this little essential oil party is we made little bunnies. They stitched the bunnies, and we stuffed them with rice and sewed them up. Excuse me. Then we put a few drops of lavender oil on them, and lavender oil is very calming. And then they said, when you get home, put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds, and then you just, breathe it, inhale it, put it on your chest, and the fragrance will come up as you're holding the little bunny, and the little bunny's warm and comforting. And so Sammy and Tristan and Peter came over one night, and Tristan was just being in a very cross, wound up mood. And I took the bunny and I popped it in the microwave and I heated it up and I brought it out and I handed it to him. And he kind of went, and he calmed down. There's a lot of people that would tell you that that's nonsense. But I'm going to tell you from personal experience, it is not nonsense. I'm so sorry. Not the virus. I breathe too much when I talk. I know, maybe I shouldn't talk so much. On that note, I'm going to let you go for the day. I hope you got something out of today. I was able to share something that made your life a little better. You being here with me, even though I could only see an occasional little name come up that I could make out, I am so happy you're here. And I pray you will continue. When you see this on Facebook, there'll be a subscribe button. You can click so you don't miss any future ones. In the meantime, take care of yourself, be safe, and wash your hands. That I love you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.